going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. My name's Nick, joined by Allie. Amanda, welcome all newcomers. What's going on?
Not much. I was telling you, I wish I had the TikTok, but I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, and it was one of those, those like moody ones with just the font, and you just read it. Like it wasn't even a full video, but it was just like deep thoughts. And it was
They had like a soundtrack behind it.
Yeah.
And it was just like text.
And there's blank text, there's no face.
just like my questions with Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, but on TikTok?
Yeah.
You see,
What
you
kind
don't see
of
those?
site on TikTok are you on?
You've never seen like text TikToks with
I do,
like
but
a moody
there's-
soundtrack?
There's always somebody with like half their forehead in the screen.
That also happens too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never seen blank background. I don't know why that was a sticking point for me, but no further questions. Please continue.
Okay, thank you. Objection, relevance.
Hearsay.
But it was something along the lines of when you return to your childhood home, like you almost revert back to your childhood self, or your parents treat you like your childhood self.
Yeah, I'm sure that
You
happens,
act like a younger version. So I was thinking to myself, and I was like, I think some parents are much better at either over time or right when they go off to college or turn 18. It's like, you're an adult now, our relationship is shifting. And then there are other parents who every time someone goes home, it is, no, you are the child.
Like
you
a
act
white
like it.
knuckle grasp
So
on
I'm
childhood.
like, is it up to
Was
the
there any
child?
stats on this?
It was just a deep thought. It wasn't statistic.
My guess is that it's getting worse in the direction of parents not being able to let go and children not wanting to let go. I think part of the reason why we're all like maturing later in life is that life's generally a lot easier than it was back in, say, like the early 1900s or the 1800s, where people had kids to like, they were
my
like birthing
God.
kids for farm hands, like,
I went on, do you know the Tenement Museum in New York?
no.
Oh my God, fantastic. Best museum in New York. It's like, it takes you through these old apartments from like the 1800s, like early 1900s. And I saw this like butcher shop and just like an apartment that this family of 5 lived in. And it was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like the quality of like, there was no running water. There was no like there was like very little natural light. It was all like candles. And I was like, it's just like, it's batshit when you actually like walk through the spaces. Cause sure, you can just be like, oh, people lived in 300 square foot apartments. And then you're actually in one and you're like, 5 people lived here and 3 women worked here doing textiles.
Yeah.
And the price of meat went up from 12 cents to 18 cents and it ruined everyone's lives.
Now, granted, I didn't have a childhood like that, but there were 11 kids. And when I turned 18, I got a handshake and a good luck, essentially. I mean, my parents were there, but like they stopped essentially being my parents. Like they stopped telling me what to do. They stopped worrying about, like, I wasn't getting checked in, and I stopped asking for permission. They had a bunch of other kids to raise, but now
You're like, now our watch has ended.
yeah, because like nowadays people are having 1, 2, maybe 3. You hear of a
But I
couple
don't
having
think
3
it's about
kids,
the
and everyone's like, "Oh, what a
number.
large family."
I know.
I don't
do.
think it's about the number, because my dad was one of 2, and his parents, like, he jokes, he's like, when I got dropped off at college, like the car didn't even stop moving. Like
Sure,
it was very
that's your dad. How's your dad?
62.
Yeah, I don't think it's only
So
has
it's
to do with.
generational.
I think it's I think there's probably several variables, and I think
Okay.
generational is probably one of them. I think it's more okay to coddle your kids now.
100%. I was talking to like, I have my mom's like cousin who lives out in LA, who I like went over to her house for dinner, and she has a 14-year-old son or a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old son. But we were talking about how like this feels like, I feel like I was kind of raised by like one of the first generations that really got to like heal from trauma or like get access to certain mental health resources, like in a way that was just like in other generations, it was just like bootstrap and like kind of like power through, like, just like finding means of like getting by and subsisting that like were not necessarily like mental health talky, like emotional processing stuff. And so I feel like, yeah, when you say like this generation is like drastically different, I think it's like there's just this like heightened level of emotionality that it feels like, and like talking about, I don't know, it's like obviously a
Do you
cliche.
think it's also a financial thing sometimes? Because there was an interesting conversation that my family had when we went on vacation in March, and my sister's 29, working her way up the medical ladder, but still has a lot of loans and stuff like that. But she was just pointing out the comparison too of like, again, with my dad's generation, he like graduated college, got a great job, and was like buying a townhome in his like early to mid 20s. And she's struggling to even think about, like how does one even afford a house? I think finances have also changed that too.
I think there's a lot of variables, but also like your sister, like it sounds like your family has the means to like help out your sister if they want to.
But that goes into the coddle. Like we want to be independent, but it's an uphill battle at this point with everything's so expensive. Like the housing market right now versus when my parents were there. It's not a matter of if my parents could help out. We don't want them to.
I think at the end of the day, generationally, I think it's a little like people have, I think, more time on their hands. What technology has freed us up
and
of things, right?
The ability to monitor each other with technology.
Yeah.
Like not only time, but like time that can be, it's not just like, okay, when someone is in front of me, they are my focus and I feel responsible for them. But like you can also like be trying to monitor your children like on the internet or like through other like tracking their location.
It's not like our parents like sent us off to California and they're like, see you in 6 months.
I think
write a letter.
You made a great point with the museum and 5 kids. Like obviously times have changed drastically, but over the years, like, that 5 kids in a 300 square foot apartment, that was the norm.
Yeah.
Or a farm or something, right?
And also, now, the kids, and some of the kids were like dying in very young ages from like.
Talk to any, talk to like great great grandparents. Like having a kid die was like.
Oh, yeah.
That was a part of it. Like every family story.
That died. Yeah.
Every I think most of our grandparents, or at least great grandparents, all had like a sibling or died, or like it was fairly commonplace, like of some sort of like disease
sisters got polio.
Yeah.
It's like
my grandma got red fever. Like we really
God.
I think we forget like despite like the world being hectic and a little like controversial, like quality of life has never been more convenient and better. Just the fact that we do give a shit about mental health.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's insane. Well, also going back to your question, Allie, about like whose job is it kind of within like a parent-kid dynamic? Because I think especially with COVID, when a ton of people who like might not have otherwise lived at home, but were maybe in their like early 20s or like were coming home from university and were put in a like a contained environment with their parents, there was like just like colossal regression. Like everybody was regressing to like 16-year-old them dynamic. And I think it's kind of a very mutual thing, but I think when it's the parent who's asserting the dynamic, I think it's harder to break out of it because they have usually tend to have slightly more power.
100%.
So I think it's like can be like I think there's kids who are maybe like not taking independence and where parents are kind of like pushing them out of the house, being like, please
I think
be self-sufficient.
I think the parents definitely play a bigger role.
Set the stage.
Yeah. Because if your parents are gonna like coddle you, it's hard to say no.
Yeah, it's hard to resist.
I mean, like,
or even not even coddling, but like an expectation of like constantly talking,
doing your laundry when you come home, or throwing you a few bucks, or making you dinner. Like, let mom or dad like help you out, like fix the car or something like that. Like if you have a handy parent or something like that, like who are we to say no to?
Yeah. I was even thinking more so of like going home as an adult and still being like, well, when are you going to be home? Or like, who are you seeing? Like that type of dynamic. That's less even like coddling. It's just like reverting back to almost like a teenage sense.
Yeah. I think they're just.
Maybe they just can't help it.
Yeah. Control.
Maybe that's the system.
Apparently.
You can unsend.
On iOS 16, you're going to be able to unsend. That's me.
Oh,
I'm playing the video. You can unsend iMessages. Game changing. Amanda.
So
Amanda's reaction is not what I surprised. Like your concern was.
I am vehemently against. This is abysmal for all archival integrity.
Amanda's just going to screenshot every second in case she needs it.
Because think about
part of the gotcha clan.
Yeah, but what if someone's like breaking up with you and it's like, I really think we should end things. You're a terrible human being and I fucking hate you, and then they delete that. Then they're going to look like a better person.
Well, I mean, better in whose standards?
I don't know.
Yeah, wait, what?
Like if I sent you a screenshot and I was like, oh, Josh broke up with me and he was so mean, but he'd taken out the mean one and I tried to show it to you, you'd be like, this looks really nice. You're crazy.
I'm going to start antagonizing people by asking them questions that have like where the answer is something that sounds really harsh. feel like
And then
feel like
revert-
what
taking the
was it
question away?
that like feel like yeah, and then unsending the question so it just looks like they've unprovoked.
What was that
something
terrible
crazy.
thing your mom said to you in the 9th grade?
I'm
You
sure
piece
people
of
will figure
shit.
out a way to weaponize this. Like,
And I'm one of them
like
because I'm
every-
not for it.
Why do you feel like people should like?
Unsend a message.
Yeah, what?
It's out there.
God.
It's done.
Okay, I think you should be able to unsend it before someone's read it.
I like that. Or like Gmail within a minute or like 45
Yeah.
seconds or something.
No, whenever.
You can't pull it back 4 years later. What's done is done. We're not rewriting history.
If someone sends you some like inappropriate shit, screenshot it.
It's not. This is.
They take
No,
back
I'm
their
serious, like,
nudes.
This
if
is in
you-
no way about like.
If you get like a text, and like if you don't immediately or within like I guess the day find it to be like inappropriate or wrong, then it's not.
This is.
But like people like going back 6 months and rereading stuff out of maybe context or like adding in a memory or two and then deciding like somehow it's weird or fishy. I don't know. Like if someone like gaslights
it's,
you,
no, it's not about. I'm thinking about petty arguments with loved ones. That is what I'm thinking about.
Are you thinking about your family?
Like with like
Her
friends,
family group
family. Yeah. No, my family group chat is just like cat videos.
We have a great episode, some callers, some great answers. If you're listening to this now, texting office hours, if you have a texting problem, a situationship, a friend, you don't know how to draft a text, email us at asknickacademy.com right now.
Right now on Monday.
We might pick you. We might not, but there's
we
always
might.
a chance. There's always a chance. Caitlin Bristow this week. I think tomorrow, depending on her flight.
I can't believe she's coming off a flight. Then we know she's not bringing Spade and Sparrows.
No, she's sending it. I've already asked for you, Allie.
This is the best day of my life.
Why?
Only thing that would top this is if we got a sponsorship with Taco Bell.
I don't think Taco Bell does sponsorships.
Oh,
On
Shanti's already
podcasts?
asked.
I feel like them and Doja Cat kind of have it on lock. Can you imagine if the two faces of Taco Bell were Doja Cat and Nick Viall?
I mean,
I would
I'd
personally
subscribe.
dream.
yeah. Well, let's get to our callers. So many reasons for us to get therapy. Maybe it's just maintenance. You don't even need a reason to get therapy, but there's plenty of reasons to do it. And BetterHelp is making it easier than ever before because many people don't get therapy because, well, cost is one, convenience is another. They don't even know where to start. And BetterHelp solves all those problems. Affordable therapy, and they are so great. You just go to their website. You tell them what you're looking for. They have hundreds, maybe even thousands of therapists that they work with.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel like they're constantly bringing on new people.
Yeah, they are. Well,
It's expanding.
they literally are bringing on a new therapist every day. Our listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Viall Files. That's better, HELP.com/VIALLFILES. So whether you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling a little burnout, fatigue, mental fatigue, maybe it's money problems, relationship problems, they can help with it all. BetterHelp. No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you got bills due. Good thing there's Chime. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. But Chime is more than just about getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. Money today is worth more than money tomorrow. That's just a fact. Time value of money. So make your money worth more with Chime. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/VIALL. That is chime.com/VIALL. Banking services and debit card provided by Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank, NA, member FDIC. Early access to deposits funds depends on payer. How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. What's your name?
A, and I am 26.
How can I help, A?
You know, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm stuck in a pickle. I don't know if I'm gonna be a dad, and this all comes from the part that it's just going back from like 4 months ago. You know, I had a friend with benefits, and we hooked up and stuff like that, and we were left off. I'm left off thinking I might be a dad. You know, just because of stuff that happened, and I'll go ahead and relay that. You know, it was one of those things where this girl, she missed her period for about a month, and this was in January. So she missed her period the whole month of January. I was scared. I was like, all right, I don't know much about this person. We just hooked up. And from there on, she was like, I'm okay. And I was like, okay, I'll believe her. I know girls miss their periods. It happens. So I was like, okay, I'll believe her. And then, but the thing
What do
that
you mean
added
by
on to that,
believer? That like when she said it, what do you mean?
oh, I believe that she wasn't pregnant. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I believe that she wasn't
She
pregnant.
told you she wasn't pregnant. Okay.
She told me, yeah, she's like, I'm not pregnant. I was like, okay. And I believed her on that. And then from there, it escalated to the point where she started showing symptoms. She was telling me, I feel nauseous when I wake up. I'm craving this, I'm craving that. And I got scared. I was like, all right, maybe it's time to take a pregnancy test. And then she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, in my head,
So
I was
she
like,
told you
well,
she wasn't pregnant, but never took a test.
yes, exactly. She told me she wasn't pregnant, but never took a test.
Did
And I
she
was
get her
like, okay.
period, as far as you know?
No, nope.
Okay.
She did not. She did not. Yeah.
So she was just like, I know I'm not pregnant because I know me.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. And I was like, that's good for you. Like, I don't know you, but that's good for you. And then she was like, wait 2 more weeks. And I did. I waited my 2 weeks, and then she took a test. And then these tests, they did come out negative. She only took 2. They came out negative. But here's the thing. After those two tests that she took, then she went another 2 weeks without getting her period. So now she's 2 months without getting her period, and she's still having symptoms. And I'm like, hey, like maybe it's time to actually check it up. Go to the doctor. And she was like, I'm not going to no doctor. Don't bring that up. I'm like, no. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, and she was like, wait it out, wait. I just keep waiting. And I was like, it's been 2 months. You haven't gotten your period and you're showing symptoms. And then from there, she's just like, just wait. And I was like, okay.
Are you guys like still hooking up and like going out?
No, at this point, we're just texting. We're not going out anymore. We're just texting.
And are you like the one checking up on, like checking in?
Yeah, pretty much. I am checking. Like, she's not telling me. She's not giving me no details.
Like, as far as she's concerned, she would just like, you wouldn't have any connection. Like, you guys would just stop.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like it's me checking in. And then she's just like, no, she's not taking a test. And now this is January, February, March rolls around and still no period. Now it's 2 months and there's some change, like some couple of weeks. And I'm just like, she's still showing symptoms. I'm still nervous. I haven't seen her since January.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by showing what do you mean by still showing symptoms?
She's still waking up nauseous. She's feeling fatigued. She's feeling depressed. She's craving things she hasn't really craved before. And I'm just like,
she's telling you this.
Yeah, she tells me all of this. And then I'm just like, okay, maybe you are. And then she's like, I'm not. She's really focused on the fact that she's not. And I'm like, okay. And then I ask her one more time, now it's 3 months. She hasn't gotten her period. Ask her, hey, can you take the test again? And when I ask her that, I guess she just snaps and she tells me, you know what? I don't want to talk to you ever again. I asked you multiple times not to ask me to take another test. Like you don't understand. And I'm just trying to make sure you're not pregnant, because I don't want to leave this without knowing like, hey, I'm gonna be a dad type of thing. I don't want to walk away from it. And then she just told me not to talk to her again. And then what leads up to this is that I texted her 2 weeks after that. So now we're like in April. And I texted her in April. I was like, hey, did you end up getting your period or are you pregnant? And she just says, I did. Yes, I did. I think that was correlating to, yeah, she got her period, but I don't know. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to bother you anymore. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, I have a gut feeling that she's not telling me the truth. And I just don't know how to confirm that, okay, she's not. Maybe it's me having trust issues, but it's like everything leading up to this was so sketchy that I'm just like, did you really get your period or are you just telling me that so I can leave you alone?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think you have to trust her, even though like something tells you that's off, because like those are your options. Your option is to just trust her. And I suppose you can, like, I don't know, like, I don't think you should stalk her or keep an eye on her or anything like that. But if eventually you'll find out if she's lying.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like a kid shows up like 3, 4, 5 years from now, like at my door, like, hey, you're my dad type of thing.
Well, if she's in fact pregnant and she has the baby, like I'm assuming it won't be that hard to find out. Like,
I
you know what I'm
hope-
saying? Like, I feel like maybe for your own benefit, you just kind of need to let it go. There's a very strong chance she's not pregnant.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
And I know it's a weird situation, but like, I think it's one of those things, as much as you can, like, just try to let it go, and then maybe check in a 9 months, and see if she's carrying around a child, I guess. But what do you ladies think? I mean,
I don't know. I feel like my first instinct is you've tried really hard to do your due diligence and reach out to her and check in and encourage her to take tests. And either she got her period or she's lying. But I feel like you've, tried everything you can from a distance. You're not in a relationship. You don't see her every day. So let's say she is pregnant, you kind of have all this data on your side of, I continued asking. I wanted to know. I encouraged, let's say this kid does show up in your doorstep. I encouraged your mom to take a test. I wanted to know and be there and be present. And I'm with Nick. I think you just kind of have to trust her at this point, because either she got her period or she didn't. And if she didn't, she isn't too worried or doesn't necessarily want anyone else to know. And that's her choice.
yeah, I mean, it could be the opposite, that she is really worried about that she is pregnant with someone's child that she doesn't know, and then she is afraid about that, and she could just be avoiding the whole thing.
Mhm.
But there's nothing you can
There's nothing you can
do
at
about
this
it
point.
at this point.
Mhm.
And it doesn't do you any good, kind of getting in your head and assuming the worst, because that's what this could be too. Do you ever? I don't know if you've suffered from any type of hypochondria, but as someone who can get in their head about things and watch a movie, and then they talk about symptoms, and all of a sudden you start convincing yourself I got that shit, like you know and all of a sudden it'll be no, there's no way I wouldn't feel this and that if I didn't have it. I definitely have it. And then you go to the doctor, you do all this blood work, they tell you you're fine, you take some tests, and then you immediately start feeling better because you just convince yourself that this is happening. So there's a chance that you're just, it sounds like you want to do the right thing and you want to follow up and you have your own fears about the situation, but you've really just convinced yourself it must be what's going on, and she could easily not be pregnant. There's the fact that you guys don't really know each other. There's a lot of awkwardness. There's not a ton of rapport. And I think a pregnancy scare in general with someone you don't know can be it can be a really impactful moment, especially I think for women. And maybe she just wants to say goodbye to this, right? Because she's I don't know, this was a little traumatic for me. Maybe she had a fear and then realized she wasn't pregnant, and she just doesn't want to talk to you anymore because.
Well, yeah, and from her perspective as well, it's as a woman, I feel like a lot of times you go through scares and whatever, and you're getting opinions of, my sister's a doctor, one of my best friends is a nurse. One of them is telling me I can take a test at 2 weeks. The other one's saying I need to wait 6 weeks because my period's never on time. She might be getting a lot of information from other people. And if she's overwhelmed and stressed out, as lovely as you seem, you might be one of the last people she wants to hear from because she might be freaking herself out as well. So yeah, ignoring it, or maybe she thinks she has to wait a certain amount of time. That might be her coping mechanism. But again, I think you've done everything you can.
Also, if she wanted to, she's honest with, or she is communicating with you that she's having these symptoms, as you say. So it's not like she's not telling you anything, And so if it's entirely possible she could be pregnant and want to hide that from you for some reason. But it's also entirely possible that she's just not pregnant, because if she was, it can be scary to do it on your own. And even if you don't know the person you got pregnant with, in your case, there's some financial obligations, and if you're willing to step up and meet those obligations, I think the majority of people would want to take you up on at least helping financially or being supportive and just being the father of their child, and assuming you give her no indication that you just want to be there and in whatever capacity she would need you to be, but you just want to do your part, then that's all you can do. And it sounds like you've done that.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine if she, your paranoia and fear that she could be pregnant could, from her end, come across as a little weird or aggressive, where she's like, I'm not, and I told you I'm not, so please stop asking me this. Like I would, it would be frustrating for me, for me, if I'm not going to get pregnant, but like, yeah, I think it'd be frustrating for anyone to just be like, I fucking told you what's up.
Yeah.
And you just keep asking me, you don't know this person that well, right?
No, I don't. No, yeah.
And she doesn't know you that well. So she also might be just a little uncomfortable, like, talking to you all that much about like these very sensitive topics. So back to my original thing, I think all you can do is trust. And I think
Trust.
the odds are that if she is pregnant, that she would tell you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Especially if she,
Because she's told you about the other things, like the
Yeah.
symptoms. She's somewhat kept you in the loop. She's getting a bit defensive because I think you keep bringing up the tests, but I think she would let you know.
yeah, you're communicating. She's communicating this stuff, and you're just like, yeah, but that's not good enough. I want more information, and you're putting that a little bit of responsibility to get her more information on her. And I'm sure you're willing to help, but she doesn't know you. She's like, I don't want to go to the fucking doctor with you, or I don't want I don't know you. Vizzy hard seltzer. Vizzy. Ooh, they had so many great flavors. That's right. Papaya, passion fruit, watermelon, strawberry, black cherry, lemon. They also have mimosa hard seltzer, which Allie won't shut up about. Great taste with antioxidants and vitamin C. Vizzy has you covered this summer with a wide range of refreshing fruit flavors like pineapple mango, black cherry lime, strawberry kiwi, blueberry pomegranate. So if you're looking for an amazing hard seltzer that tastes great and has some vitamin C in it, think of Vizzy. We do all the time. To find Vizzy near you, go to VizzyHardSeltzer.com/VIALL. That is VizzyHardSeltzer.com/VIALL. It's an amazing drink. It's delicious. It's tasty. It's everything you want in a hard seltzer.
We're not getting enough antioxidants these days.
Absolutely not.
No.
Especially if I'm having a night out, I'm not thinking about antioxidants, and Vizzy makes it so easy.
They think for you. And for updates on their latest flavor drops and more, sign up at VizzyHardSeltzer.com/subscribe. In case you didn't know, must be 21 years or older. Nothing I enjoy more than cereal. And the problem usually with cereal is that it's filled with sugar. Well, not Catalina Crunch. Whoo, baby.
The cinnamon, they have like a one that is like sort of like cinnamon toast crunch-esque. Obviously, it's less like hyper sweet, but it's still like sweet and yummy, and it tastes like good cereal. And there's so much protein in it. Like for breakfast, I'm like, I
That's
gotta
a
get
plus.
some protein to start my day. I think there's like 11 grams or something like
Yeah.
that in a serving. And I have it with like an almond milk. So it's like, especially if you're trying to like be healthy, like you can really kind of customize it to whoever you want. And it's got all the good in it, and it tastes yummy.
Ladies, if your egg is tasting too eggy, get your protein elsewhere.
Yogurt got you down. Catalina Crunch,
There you
bring
go.
you right back up.
They have 8 craving flavors like cinnamon toast, dark chocolate, chocolate peanut butter, chocolate banana, honey graham, fruity, maple waffle, and mint chocolate, my favorite. Every flavor is delicious on its own, but mixing them, also great. Like cinnamon toast and chocolate peanut butter. Ooh. Or maple waffle and fruity. It's like having a waffle with fruit on it. Don't be surprised if you love them all. So if you're looking for a delicious cereal, think of Catalina Crunch. Just go to CatalinaCrunch.com/VIALL for 15% off your first order. Plus free shipping. That's CatalinaCrunch.com/VIALL. Not sure which flavor to start with? Try a variety pack and check out their delicious cookies and snack mixes while you're at it. Again, that's CatalinaCrunch.com/VIALL for 15% off your first order plus free shipping. Listen, if she really is avoiding this situation, there's a chance she could be pregnant and she still doesn't know. I mean, there have been stories like that, but if it happens, you certainly made yourself available to being there. So what you don't want to do is not respect this boundary she's tried to set and either stalk or harass or just keep bugging her, because then it's just like, even if she is pregnant, it's
Then
just
she
like
will
this,
not
this
let you
fucking
know.
guy is like, eh. So just, I think, back off a little bit, let it go, trust that she's being upfront with you, and don't let your fears get the best of you. And if you want to, in a year or so, check in just to get that final closure. We're just like, I don't know, like, If she like, do you follow her on Instagram? Is she like?
I do follow. Yeah, I do follow her on Instagram.
So there, leave
Easy
it
way
alone.
to check.
Don't get her to block you. Don't be just let it go. Just chill out, and maybe you'll get a call in the future. But right now, you pressuring her and bugging her and constantly asking it is clearly not doing what you're trying to accomplish.
Gotcha. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I was pressuring her a little bit, but it was just like I just wanted to make like that confirmation more than anything.
I get that it came from a good place. I understand that, but like at the same time, you still need to respect the boundaries she's trying to set and trust that she would tell you, and that it's highly likely you have gotten in your head as well.
No, probably, yeah. That I overthink a lot of things too, so it can be one of those things as well.
Just
but all right.
Yeah, I would let it go, and I mean anything's possible in a situation, but I think it's more likely than not that if she finds out she's pregnant and proceeds with the pregnancy, that you will find out. Like,
Okay.
I think it's unlikely, given your interest in being a part of this potential child's life, that you're going to find out in 19 years. You know what I'm saying? I find that to be unlikely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do hope so. So I would think I mean, we did talk about things like that. Like, what happens if you are pregnant? And she was like, well, will you move in with me? And I was like, well, no. I mean, I feel like we can co-parent. And she's like, well, I want the kid to be with me more than anything. And I was like, she wasn't even giving that ultimatum. Like, she was giving me that ultimatum too. Like,
she wanted you to move in with her?
Yeah, if she is. Yeah, she was like, will you move into me? Well, like, will you move in with me? And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I wouldn't. Like, I feel like we can co-parent nowadays. It's like, well, I'll probably move in back with my family and like raise this kid on my own. I was like, you don't have to do that. Like, I said, I'll be a part of this if you are. And she's like, no, I don't think that should be the case. Like, it's either we're together or we're not.
If you've discussed being involved in the hypothetical situation, she's for sure going to involve you in a real situation. Like, these are like very vulnerable, real conversations. So if she's already like including you in that, she's for sure going to tell you if she's pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, I think the part of her saying, well, it's all or nothing, and if you don't live with me, I can see how it gets you a little nervous. Well, like, no, if I don't want to, you said that you're not going to like move in. So she, in a way, kind of gave you like an idle threat to do that. But I think to Allie's point, like right now, there's just a lot of emotions and a lot of fears going on, that I just think at the end of the day, it's highly unlikely that she was like, no, would you move in with me? And you're like, I don't know. I think we can co-parent. She's like, well, that she wouldn't broach the subject again if once she finds out she's in fact, pregnant.
Yeah.
A lot's going to come up, financial responsibility, like her life's going to change. And again, it's more likely than not that she would at least broach the subject with you because you've offered your help. And I think in this situation, getting as much help as possible is nice. And what you don't want to do is make her feel uncomfortable for including you. So like, you made it clear that what was your response after she said, don't talk to me again?
I was like, okay, I'll leave you alone. That's pretty much it. I said, okay, I'll leave you alone.
Okay. Yeah. Great answer.
Yeah.
So I think all you
and I have I haven't texted her since.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've left her alone. She told me she got her period, and I was like, all right, like you said, all I can do is kind of accept that. I mean, there's nothing much I can do.
And it's entirely possible that she's being truthful, that people can be late, especially if they're stressed about things, about being pregnant. People can miss their periods. So that stuff can happen. So I think you're going to be fine. My guess is she's probably telling you the truth, and on the off chance she's not, you'll find out when you need to.
Gotcha. Dang. It's a hard pill to swallow, that's for sure.
I know. But you just have to swallow it and try not to overthink the situation. You're creating a scenario that's just highly unlikely. And I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying you're crazy for wondering it. It's just unlikely.
Also, I don't know, maybe this is bad advice, but it could be worth like sending a message a little bit down the line being like, hey, I just wanted to apologize that that like my reaching out was a little bit too much. Like, I was really eager to show that if you were pregnant, I was ready to like step up, but I realized it came off as like bothering you.
Yeah, I think that's actually great advice.
So
I
that
would give
way
it
it's
some
like leaving the
time.
door open. So, because I think it's that thing of like, if like, and again, I think it's probably pretty unlikely that she's lying, but if she is, like, you want to give her that open door back in, that like, if you come forward, you won't get in trouble type thing, or just like want her to know that like, you will not stop being a resource. And I think also genuinely want to express that like, like, you know, any
Even if she's not pregnant, you're still saying, "Hey, listen, I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable. I was just I wanted to do the right thing. I hope you're great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I
like this came from a good place, but realize it might not have served you in the moment. Like, just wanted to
I
acknowledge
probably
that.
I probably pushed a little too much, and I'm sorry I did that. I hope you're well." Like, you're not asking for anything. You're just stating.
But like several months from now, I don't think, right?
Yeah, I would
Not-
wait.
yeah.
I'd wait at least a month. I think a month is
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Like 3 months I think a month is a good time.
Okay.
Like, some time has passed. It shows that you've accepted it. Definitely don't ask her any questions. You're just, "Hey, I just wanted to reach out and say, I'm sorry that I made you feel like I wasn't trusting you. Like, I guess I was just a little nervous. I hope you're well. Take care."
Yeah, like it came
Mhm.
from a place of like wanting you to know that I really wanted to be involved and supportive.
I was a
Like,
little scared.
Yeah.
And I, admit some, like, say you were scared. You probably were. And that shows that you're some vulnerability. And if she is scared too, that makes it easier for her to share that as well. But don't ask her any questions. Don't try to get any information from her. This is not like a way to like get back in. You're just letting her know how you feel, and just assume it's just you're doing it for the apology. And on the off chance that there is something up, it could be a way to make her feel comfortable to involve you.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but like a month from now.
No, definitely. Yeah. I'll give it its time.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right.
No,
Take care.
Thank you. Have
right.
a good one, guys.
You too. Bye bye.
Good
Bye.
luck.
Bye.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm Sophie and I'm 23 years old.
How can I help, Sophie?
Okay, so I got out of my first serious relationship about a year ago. It was 2 years long, met him in college. It was very tumultuous. Like from the beginning, we were fighting nonstop and just kind of like immaturely pushed through anyway. My analysis of the situation would be that he was kind of the root of all the issues. He was just not ready for a relationship, not in a very healthy place in his life. And
Why do
there was a
you
lot of,
think that? How long did you guys date for?
we dated for 2 years.
Gotcha.
I think he wasn't ready just because there was a lot of immaturity there, like a lot of lying, a lot of like,
Well,
yeah.
my analysis of what I've just heard from you is that if you're telling me that two people fought for 2 years,
Yeah.
then you played a role in that.
Oh, I definitely.
So the fact, like,
acknowledge that.
he might be starting all this stuff, and he might have
Yeah.
been resistant, but like you were unwilling to accept that maybe he just wasn't at a place that he needed to be in a relationship, and instead of accepting that, you fought through that, and that was that part is on you as well. So you have to take some
Totally.
accountability for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have since been in therapy working on like my attachment style, understanding like how I ended up in that, why I pushed through, like all those kinds of things. I like do wholeheartedly.
Also, it was your first relationship. Like,
Of course.
that's usually the norm of like
Yeah.
not getting it right and not knowing, is this something I should fight for or is this something I should accept and let go? It's very complicated
Yeah.
and confusing. Like, awesome that you're doing therapy, but also take it easy on yourself. Like, I don't think you need to figure out what's wrong with you. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You're just a human
Totally.
being.
Yeah. A lot of it all just read as like naive romanticism,
Sure.
pushing through, like we can make this work,
For sure.
whatever. Yeah. So the complicated parts of it are that like my friends were not a big fan of the relationship the whole time. They were like seeing the effect on me and really not liking it. They wanted me out of it for a while.
Okay.
His friends loved the relationship. I don't think they were seeing the inner workings. They like felt that it was good. They thought I was good for him. And we made a lot of mutual friends, and most of our mutual friends were kind of on that side of the world. So basically we broke up a year ago, and then it was not a clean breakup for like 4 months. We did kind of all the wrong things. We kept talking, whatever, gonna happen.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I didn't know, but like basically the last month we were talking, he got a new girlfriend at school that I didn't know about. I found out on social media and realized that all our mutual friends, a lot of my close friends, had known and not told me. And I guess they didn't realize that I was still talking to him so intimately. And so at that point, that's when I cut communication. And I was like, this is insane. Like, we're just playing out the same cycle over and over again. We're not even together. Please don't reach out to me anymore. And I was like, don't even respond to this message. Like, this is it. That's it. And we haven't talked since. And it's been nearly a year.
Okay.
So the place I'm in right now is kind of like, I'm at a year-ish since breakup. I'm kind of trying to reevaluate like where I'm at, like thinking about it more. And I'm feeling like I'm just holding on to so much like bitterness, and I like don't want to be carrying that. And given that I know there's no real conversation to be had with him, like I think that was right to stop talking. I'm like not sure where to place a lot of these feelings.
Okay. Ooh, bitterness towards who?
Towards a couple parties. So him, just because like so much of what happened in those 2 years never got resolved, and so much of the breakup and the girlfriend and all of that, just like I just decided to clean cut rather than talk a lot of it out. And to some of the friends, which isn't necessarily fair because I don't think that they really knew how I felt about a lot of it, but then it feels like frustrating to me when they're like posting stuff about him and the new girlfriend and like praising the relationship and loving that, and then I feel like that really hurts my feelings even though they might not have been clued in.
Yeah. I relate to you. I've been you, and I think, in my personal opinion, that you can get over this. I wouldn't say easily, because it won't necessarily be easy, but it's definitely doable, and it's really on
Yeah.
you, because a lot of this is ego driven. A lot of this is, and again, he sounds like he sucks, like, and it sounds like he hurt you, and it sounds like he did a lot of things he should be sorry for. But that relationship is over now. You got out of it,
Yeah.
and you have to like heal from that, right? But you're still holding on to a lot of the hurt that he caused you, and you're still trying to. And I think, to me, completely unexpert, untherapist point of view, is that you are holding on because you're still having a hard time accepting the role that you played in this relationship. Like,
Yeah.
I know like a lot of people like to talk about attachment styles, and it's like it's a real thing. It's a very interesting thing. It can explain a lot. I don't know if you've noticed, I never fucking talk about it on this show because, well, I could like read about it and I could study it, but like I'm not a therapist. And while it can explain a lot of things, I think like understanding your attachment style and some of these other things is something like a lot of us like to do, to then help explain why we did what we did, to like make us feel better about our choices.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, maybe you just made a bad choice. And that bad
Yeah.
choice was based off of you being stubborn and you like having an ego and not wanting to accept that this is a relationship was a little bit too toxic, but you thought you could fix it and you thought you could power through and you thought you could change him and all these things. I've been that person, right? And I think and I think you just need to accept that there was a lot about like when you call like in 30 seconds, you're like, I've realized there's a lot of things that was basically all his fault. That frame of mind, I think, is causing you to hold on to these feelings of negativity and resentment towards a variety of people, some of which you acknowledge may not even be totally clued in and operating with the same information you were operating with. And so you're feeling this resentment towards them because you feel like they should have been a little bit more loyal to you or empathetic to your needs and feelings. Meanwhile, they're supporting this friend or this guy who treated you like shit, who seems to be like getting away with the fact that he treated the way you did, and now he's dating someone else, and everyone still thinks he's a good guy. And that bugs you, and it bugs your ego even more, and you're having a hard time letting him go, and it's a part of you that wants him to pay for how he treated you, which I totally understand. Like I've felt that way before when
Yeah.
we got treated poorly, but I think you really need to try to accept and let go and take ownership for like the choices you made, regardless of what your attachment style is, and maybe that can help explain why you did what you did, but you still
Yeah.
are an adult, and you're like understanding your attachment style doesn't mean you're incapable of making decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I'm a nervous attachment, so anytime I get nervous, like I guess I am gonna make this decision, and I really can't help myself.
Anxious attachment.
Whatever the fuck, I don't know. But like we sometimes want to understand ourselves to help explain it, but then I think we sometimes give a little bit too much power away to these attachment styles to be like, well, what can I do? I'm anxious.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely see the ego thing because I think with the new girlfriend, some of that is the ego of like, it seems like a good relationship. They've been together for a while and feeling like, well, how did she crack the code? Like, it's frustrating to me that now, like,
She didn't
she
crack the
might be
code. And there's
making
also a
it.
part of you that's low key being like, I don't care how they're doing, but like I want them to break up. Like
I do.
I want
I
them
do.
to find out.
Yeah.
I want her to find out what he's eventually gonna do what he did to me, and maybe he will, and maybe he won't. Maybe they were more compatible.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got two people, young and in love, who have limited experience of being in a relationship and limited experience of how to fight and how to listen and how to get over arguments. And maybe you two were just like two people who like didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And now he has a little bit more knowledge, and maybe he
Yeah.
grew up a little bit. I don't know, right? But like you're just having a hard time accepting that and letting go and just being at peace with it. And I think you should try to focus on being thankful that you're no longer in this relationship, and being thankful that you're no longer wasting your time hooking up and talking to a guy you're not in a relationship with, because you went from breaking up with him to still being invested in him. It's like, yeah, he wasn't your boyfriend, but you were maybe you could argue even more invested in a
Yeah.
period in which you didn't have the confidence of having the label, you know? So it's just like he's a free agent, but you're still talking on a regular basis and still hooking up, and you still have expectations of him, and he still has your heart, and you're still like emotionally like connected to him without the security of a relationship. So that you become even more invested and more committed, and then anything he does or doesn't do hurts a little bit more, and because you really have like that period in which you broke up and decided to like hang out with him, you were so powerless.
Yeah. Totally.
And it can hurt
Yeah.
really bad because you were you put yourself in a very vulnerable situation. And that was, in my opinion, your ego not wanting to accept the reality and still fighting for it. And your ego telling you, no, you can fix this. You're great. You're special. He just hasn't seen it yet. There's something you haven't done yet. There's something that's missing. Figure it out. Make it work, et cetera, et cetera.
I think acceptance is really the right word because it's like I find myself feeling like I just wish I never dated him at all, and that's just like not productive because it happened.
It happened.
Did like
and
too late.
And you should be thankful you dated him. Hopefully you learned a lot, and you will learn even more once you truly are thankful that it's no longer in your life. And you're gonna meet other people, and in like 3 years from now, you're gonna look back, and it's gonna be funny to you. You're going to laugh.
Yeah.
You'll be humored by how you're feeling now, and your stubbornness of not wanting to accept it and let it go, and the power you gave away to him and these friends. And like, again, I'm talking from personal experience. I just gave it all away. I just gave so much of my energy and time and resources to people who just weren't asking for it, who didn't want it. And I was crippled. I mean, I truly felt crippled and helpless by like my mentality and my obsession with like not feeling wronged.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that does trouble me because I also have been feeling like I don't trust that I wouldn't make those decisions again because I haven't like put it into practice. And so then it's like that then makes me nervous to date again because I'm like, how do I know that I'm
Well, you're still obsessed with it being his fault.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So it wasn't just his fault. You dated him for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
And your willingness to hang out with him after you broke up is 100% your fault, in my opinion. Because
even at the breakup, I was like not not feeling the urge to get him out of my life at all, which like my friends were just absolutely astonished by.
And regardless of your attachment style, that's still your choice and it's still your fault.
Totally.
And you just have to
Yeah.
take ownership of that. And that's okay. Like if you're anything like me, you will feel more empowered once you just accept that you had a role to play. It's so helpless and powerless to realize that you can't control anything, that it's his fault. And your fear of dating again probably has to do with this fact that like, well, if it's his fault, then I'm completely helpless to the next person I date. There's nothing I could have done differently. And what you could have done differently is to stand your ground and set expectations. And when he chose not to meet those expectations or didn't respect your boundaries, you were willing to leave or walk away. And that's it. And it's that simple. Or accept that he wasn't the person you wanted him to be. And accept that like as much as your ego wanted to convince you that you could change him or that you were good enough for him and to say, hey, no, I'm seeing flaws in this relationship. There are flaws in him, and I don't want these flaws in a relationship. And that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It's just not for me, and I need to keep looking. And that can be scary because dating can get complicated and confusing and disappointing. And I'd like to have a boyfriend, but like I'm not going to have a boyfriend, and just accept where you are in your life. And just it really comes down to acceptance. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, I think I've been thinking about it. And so like, in such a dichotomy, because when I accept how I may have contributed, then it starts to like feel like it undermines that I feel like I was actually wronged in a lot of situations. So that doesn't have to be the case. Like both things can be true.
Yep.
And like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can, yes. He has things he has to work on and be sorry for, but at this point, it's not really your problem or your business, really.
Yeah.
You know, like what would an I'm sorry do for you at this point?
Nothing. Like absolutely nothing. It would be annoying.
Yeah. I mean, your ego would probably be like, oh, see, I told you so, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think you really have to, without beating yourself up emotionally or mentally, like accept that you played a role in this. That, and who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter to me, for you. It doesn't matter where he was at fault because you're no longer in a relationship with him. But it does matter, as far as you're concerned, the role you played and getting yourself in these emotional, like hostage situations, and your willingness to stay in those situations because you had the power to remove yourself, but you chose to stay. And figuring out how do you stop that in the future, you know? And that just comes down to paying attention in an early dating situation and listening to their answers and their behaviors, asking follow-up questions. If you get excited about someone, still be willing to like consider the fact that while you can have chemistry and be excited about someone, they still might not be your person.
Yeah.
You're still like really young. You have a lot going for you. It's a great time in your life to invest in your personal life and all your goals and dreams. And when you prioritize that, if someone comes along, to keep prioritizing that, because that will give you more control and more power, knowing that like you have other things going on other than a relationship, and that will help you that'll help you see things more clearly. It'll help you like see people and their actions at face value, because no matter what, like you're still good. You have so much going for you on your own, and they're just one person, and when it happens, it happens. This is all easier said than done, but like that's the mentality you want to try to have.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And that's been kind of something I've been thinking about, of like making the stakes feel higher, like making sure I'm in a place where I love my life and I don't want it to be messed up. And so like then the stakes just get higher.
Yeah. You know, you got to take it easy on yourself a little bit too. And I think you still like step one is like getting to a place where you're not obsessing over this anymore. It's been a year, and the fact that it's you need to let go.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like any thoughts of it's his fault, you need to just really be like, get out of my head. It doesn't matter. And I think you should actively choose to forgive these people like you're annoyed by, because they're not responsible for your relationship or your choices or your loyal. And he's probably not a terrible human being. He just hurt you, and that sucks. But I am confident you're going to look back and laugh.
I do hope so.
You will be amused by how obsessed and invested you were with this person.
Yeah, I'm going to trust you, and I hope so, and I can't wait for that.
It will take time, and you won't realize it until well past you giving a shit, and then it will literally be like a thought. Be like, oh yeah, I used to care, but I don't anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So like you have to try. Don't even think about that moment. It'll just let it wash over you. Like and just get out there. Right now, I think you should really invest in yourself. Prioritize things you want to do for yourself. Maybe you don't need a date for a while. Just really, bunker down, like try new things. Just really go out there, invest in friends and go have fun. And if you do date, just be more casual about it. Just meet people, and enjoy getting excited about someone and just really like let someone, fight for you. I guess ain't gonna chase you, but like not in a chase where like I want a boyfriend, but I want them to chase me, but like chase you in the sense that like right now your priority is you right now. And get focused on that, because I think the more you get better at prioritizing yourself and your individual goals, the easier it will be for you to maintain that power and not give it away so quickly to someone you get excited or like, because you're just like, I don't know, like I don't even know if I want to be in this thing because it's going so well and I'm really accomplishing all these goals and I'm doing things and I don't have all these things going on that I'm like invested in. Like I wasted so much energy and time on people and relationships that I knew weren't right for me, and that was time and energy I didn't invest in myself. And I honestly felt like I felt behind. And once I let go of that, I mean, from a career standpoint, from a personal life standpoint, like from having better social circles and closer relationships with friends and family, that all took off once I was able to like really invest in myself.
Yeah, I like that advice. I do. Like, I love my friends. I am someone who's comfortable being alone, and so like I do agree that that's the way to do it. Just buckle down.
Yeah, just stop being obsessed with fault and that, and try to these thoughts are going to pop in your head, but you have the control to stop thinking about that. You can recognize I'm thinking about it again. Stop. Whatever it is, I don't know what your passion. Like for me, it's dumb as it sounds. When like I love the Green Bay Packers, I love sports, and when I'm like thinking about things that like I'm ruminating over, whether it's work or my relationships, I just start thinking about like who's going to be starting for the Green Bay Packers. Because for me, it's just like video games. Because like it really has nothing to do with my life, but I also care about it. I'm invested in it. It's fun for me, and I can think about that. So when I think about things I know aren't doing me any good, I think about something that is like just fun for me to think about that I really emotionally care about. And that's just like a tool I use. So they figure out things that you just like thinking about, or like you get really into and you nerd out on those things, other than obsessing about something from your past.
Yeah, I think that's good advice too. Like, just let the thoughts go, because it also like I can tend to also overanalyze and overthink, and then sit and be like, no, I have to sit with these
Yeah.
feelings. And
I used to tell myself, like, I can't help how I feel. Like, it's how I feel. I can't help what pops in my head. And you definitely can.
yeah. All right.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name's Astrid.
How can I help, Astrid? Well, how old are you?
I'm 23.
How can I help?
So I wrote in because actually about a friendship issue, a friendship breakup, which isn't something I thought I would ever write in about. But basically, I have this best friend, and we've been best friends for 12 years now, since we were 11. We've kind of done everything together, and we sort of grew apart as we went to college and stuff. And over the past year, we've had some ups and downs, but we went on vacation not too long ago. Lovely vacation. And there's a few prickles, as happens with good friends or family members when you go on holiday. But after the trip, he basically just ghosted me. He didn't speak to me, didn't text me for about a month. I was back in England for a little bit, just seeing family, didn't text me. I started a new job, didn't hear a word from him. And yeah, I just started to panic, and it was super strange. And basically just navigating the silence from someone who I've considered to be super close with. And I thought I'd have the decency, to hear from if we had issues. So an update is that I actually have since spoken with this friend, and we've kind of gone through sort of airing the fact that we're growing apart. And I just kind of need your help with navigating this friendship breakup and creating boundaries and dealing with separation of someone who's been your best friend for 12
So
years.
why is it more of a breakup rather than a slow growing apart?
So that's the thing, is it's like it has felt like a slow growing apart for for a year or so. But now we've aired out the fact that we don't think we're necessarily good for each other right now. And so we're thinking that it may be best to take time apart.
How so? I mean, like, it begs the question. It's a man we're talking about. And
Yeah.
you generally date men?
Yeah.
Okay.
This man friend is not of the straight nature.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So there's no.
No.
Okay.
I know I can be like rambling, speak circuitously, but I can kind of explain maybe a bit more in detail, like why we're disconnecting right now, if that helps.
Yeah.
We had like a big issue last year that kind of started our separation, because I just felt like he wasn't being necessarily a kind friend to me. And it became very clear that he was just irritated by having me around.
Okay.
And so it just kind of felt like my idiosyncrasies, anything I do, my breathing, whatever it may be, like he just was annoyed by me. You know how that is with siblings.
Yeah.
And so
Or
in
a relationship too.
Or in a relationship, right? And I think that's our issue, is we have the type of friendship where we kind of show our worst sides to each other. So I was kind of in a bad place at the time, dealing with a breakup, mental health. So I kind of took past 8 months to focus on myself and, sign up to run a half marathon and focus on fixing my career. And then since then, we've not been hanging out a bunch. So then we went on this trip, and when we hashed out over the past week, his takeaway is that I have a really big ego, that I've lost touch with myself, that I'm self-centered. And so to me, it's like I can't win. Do you know what I mean? It's like everything I'm doing is annoying him. And I'm like, how do I navigate this relationship with someone who is my best friend and I love him dearly, but we aren't healthy for each other? And if I'm innately irritated to him, how do I?
I mean, you kind of have to let go a little bit. What did you think and feel about him saying all those things about you?
I mean, it was hurtful, and I'm always trying to be self-aware and think, do I have a big ego? But I really don't think. I don't think I do, and it just seems like it's maybe a matter of.
What do you
jealousy.
What do you think about him?
Know.
Like, I know you love him and he's a friend, but like all the things he accused you of, and like I don't care, so like, and I don't know the person, but all the things he accused you of, do you think did you while he was saying it think to yourself, like, I don't want to be a critic, but it almost like I could say the same things about you at times, I feel like.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And
I mean, people with big egos who are selfish and self-centered think that about everyone else except for themselves.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying he is, and I don't know you at all, but it sounds like maybe you both have a decent ego, and maybe you both are guilty at times of putting your needs above the other person's. The thing about a friendship, it can be tough too, is like sometimes we like to have friends because, especially our platonic friends who like we're not emotionally or romantically connected with, we want them because we always have a few friends that are like we go to for our problems. We go to when we're sad. We go to when we need a pick me up, right? And they become like an emotional support system. That can be exhausting. Like what is like sometimes you're both just like leaning on each other, and it's just like I'm only hearing your shit. I'm only hearing when you're sad. I'm only hearing you complain. I'm only, and it's just like that does kind of get annoying sometimes. And maybe you're both doing that with each other, and when you're doing that, you're both like, you're like it's nice to have someone you can really just like not worry about how you sound, right? Like certain people, I'm assuming you probably wouldn't like be as honest or open with about your feelings about a breakup or how you're feeling, and so you keep that to yourself. And they don't see that. But like if you have one or two people you choose to like just unload this stuff over time, it can be like, you're always just like worried. You always feel like you're being wronged. You always feel like you're being sad. It's always like, but maybe you're the problem. And like, they maybe start thinking that, and there's some truth to it, because like they're just always hearing you, vent. And that
Right.
can just be a lot sometimes. So maybe you guys just need a break. If you see this person as like your brother, I mean, siblings need to take fucking breaks sometimes with one another. It's easier, I think, when it's your sibling, because you're just like, I mean, you'll always be my sibling, and we'll come around, but I kind of don't want to talk to you for the next 6 months. With friends who are like your siblings, there's that special bond, because like nothing's making you guys stay in each other's lives other than the friendship itself or the choice in wanting that. And you don't have that security with this person, because while he seems like your brother, he's not actually your brother. You know? It's like, I have siblings where we've gotten in fights or disagreements, and we just didn't want to talk to each other, and we might have gone like 3 or 4 months without talking, because it was just like, I don't know, they'll be there, and I'll reach out eventually when it's their birthday and say I love them, and we'll figure it out, right? But now you're probably a little afraid that might not happen, because that's going on. So I feel like right now, just try to maybe let go a little bit.
Right.
I just accept it. Give the relationship some space, and just be hopeful you guys can reconnect in the future.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That would be my guess. Like, it would seem like, who knows? Like, you may never talk to.
And it seems like we've been doing that anyway, and I think we're just kind of putting word to what's actually happening. What I'm curious about is, like, do you have any advice on how to navigate that coming back together to prevent this happening again? Because I don't know if I can deal with like the emotional rubber banding of being close and feeling great, and then once I'm getting on his nerves, do you know what I mean? Like that cycle.
Well, I think maybe you need what does your friendship circle look like?
I have lots of lovely kind of girlfriends, but not a friendship group.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that lack of that close connection with other people probably makes you a little bit more fearful of losing this.
Yeah.
So, and making friends as an adult is challenging, but I think maybe you need to like be open to considering and developing new, stronger friendships.
For sure. I think it's wise. Yeah.
So, myself, and that's going to take some time, like anything else. And there'll be moments of discouragement. I would be surprised if this person like vanishes from your life forever. But now that you guys are adults, and naturally, like, childhood friends can often grow apart, and it's good that you see him like a sibling, because now, like, maybe he's not like your ride or die you talk to every day about everything, but is that person where, like, down the road, like, you send him, like, on his birthday, I miss you, or text you, happy birthday, thinking of you, I'd love to see you guys, and then you get coffee or dinner, and you don't sit there and rehash the past, you just ask how they're doing. And since he called you selfish or ego driven or whatever, and I know that hurt, next time you get together, focus on his life. Ask him about him.
Challenge seems to be most of what I do anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And maybe he is the problem in that sort of relationship, and then you have to decide, well, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Is it like, to make this friendship work with him, you always have to check in with him. You always have to make sure he's okay. You have to let him tell you about his problems, but you never feel like safe or like it's okay for you to like tell you yours at the risk of him being annoyed by you. And eventually, I think you'll just, right now you're sad about the realization of the relationship ending, but in the future down the road, once you kind of get over that sadness and maybe develop some other interpersonal relationships and friendships, you'll just be like, you know what? It's disappointing, but like, I'm not getting what I need out of this friendship. And yeah, I'll always be there for you, and, we'll stay connected, and, we'll check in, but you're realizing that he is not the support system that you grew accustomed to, and that's both sad and a little scary.
Yeah.
because he was someone that you counted on, and now you can't count on him anymore for what you used to. And that's if I were you, that would be a little scary for me and a little sad.
For sure.
But you can
Yeah,
find it with
it's-
other people, and it takes time. And
Mm.
I'm sure a lot of people want to be your friend, and you'll, like, and also like for me, I used to sometimes like what I like to do is like, or I used to, especially when I was single, is I would become friends with people who were like more like acquaintances, and I would always pick and choose certain people to just like tell this, like if I needed to get things out and I needed like advice,
Yeah.
I would like decide it would be like random women in my life, like random older women who were like either married with kids, like coworkers, but we grew like a rapport and a relationship, and they were like my work friend or work mom. And then if I was going through some personal shit, I would like tell them. I trust they weren't even like, they weren't really in my circle. They had no like what my fear was, what they would tell their husband about like some like relationships, like, please don't tell anyone I told you this, and they'd be like, who am I gonna tell? And it would allow me to like just kind of like vent, and like I was friends with them, we built a relationship, but like it was I figured out who people I could share things with and get things out and feel like I could talk to people. And right now I think you don't have that right now because you lost him. So figure out other people to connect with. And it doesn't always have to be your best friend or your ride or die. It can be like random fucking people who like you just needed to like sit down and talk with.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny you say that because I just started this new job and I've befriended the cleaning ladies that work in facilities. And these past few days, they're like, how are you going? How's it doing? You feeling better today?
Yeah, sometimes it's just nice to have people to talk to, and just like you feel a little bit like cleansed after you get things out. So in the meantime, and then just be very open to meeting new people and developing friendships and relationships. And I think it'll work itself out. But right now, I think you're just kind of mourning the loss of more specifically an emotional support system that you got so accustomed to, and that's a little scary and hard to deal with. But it doesn't.
It's also like it's a strange realization of you something of like the first time in my life I'm going, do I have a best friend? Do you know what I mean? Like, who is my best? I guess I don't know what that means anymore, but that's okay. I guess that's okay. Yeah.
You know, like, why do we always have to have a best friend? You know?
Right.
And, as I've gotten older, I've had different best friends. I was talking about this with my girlfriend about, like, who is my best friend right now? And not to sound like corny, but it's 100% Natalie, because I just spend all my time with her, and she's the person I go to, and I share this stuff. And my other best friends in my life that, like, I still consider my best friend, but like practically speaking, like a lot of them don't even know what's going on in my life, because like they have kids, they live in different parts of the country. Like we're just, and we reconnect and we catch up, but like, I'm not calling them up to like, let them know how I'm feeling about a certain situation and trying to get some guidance for them, because like they can't necessarily relate. So like, having that best friend, as we get older, it becomes less of a necessity and more of a nice to have. And we can get the emotional support we need from a variety of different people in our lives. It doesn't always have to be this one person.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's an adjustment for sure, but I guess that's just growing up, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I suppose like the takeaway, at least I'm trying to tell myself, is that even though this is very layered and it's been painful at times, I guess at the end of the day, none of it's really that deep. And I just have to...
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just, it's okay. It doesn't say anything about you. It's not a reflection of who you are. It's just okay. It is a part of life. It is and it is an opportunity as well. I think that's where you can help yourself, is seeing as an opportunity to like, reevaluate your circle of influence, your friends, you people you connect with. It's, sometimes we just, like in even relationships, we just get comfortable, not necessarily because we're happy, but we're comfortable. And we don't know what not having this thing is, so we just stay in this unhappy, comfortable situation. And so maybe this friendship was long overdue from like, not him. Maybe he shouldn't have been the person for maybe the past 2 years that you went to anyways, because maybe he is a little maybe he's the selfish one, and maybe he's the one with the ego, and you were going to him for counsel and support, and he wasn't able to give it to you. But you were just like, I don't know, you're my friend. It's my expectation. So it is an opportunity to try to find people who maybe are more in tune with where you're at in your life, and you're more on the same page. And that also can change. You might develop a friend and be friends with them, and then 2 years from now, outgrow them a little bit. You know, I mean, you're always going to keep making friends. I'm still making friends. I have people in my life that I go to, and I didn't even know they existed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
special. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to come into your life. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just kind of going through this an adjustment period, and I think it's a little more scary than anything. But you'll probably be fine. And as far as this friendship goes, I would give him the space he wants, and down the road reconnect, and just keep him around because he's more like your brother than anything. And you can still have a relationship, just change the relationship. And by changing that relationship with him, maybe it becomes successful again because you're no longer counting on each other so much. Maybe you guys were a little bit too dependent on one another. So next time you reconnect, you have all these other friends, other people you're going to. And when you see him, you just see him. You just talk. You catch up. You're not emotionally dumping on each other about all the things that are going on and things that you're dissatisfied with in your life. You're just being a friend to one another. And maybe that friendship will flourish again. It's entirely possible.
Yeah. I've been joking that I've always said growing up he's going to be my man of honor at my wedding, and I might need to cast a new person for that spot. But
who knows? Maybe
who knows?
not.
It might still be him. It might still be.
Natty and I were talking about this the other day, and had I got married when I was 24, and I'm friends with all these people, but a certain person would have been my best man. And then if I had got married at 28, a different person would have been my best man. And at 30, a different person would have been my best man. And I'm still friends with all these people, and they might all stand up at my wedding. They also might not. I don't know. I'm not engaged right now, and I don't even know what my wedding is going to look like or how many people are involved. So just be careful about stressing about whether he's going to stand up in or not, or you need to replace him.
Was completely joking about that. That was a poorly delivered joke.
These are the things that sometimes can get us down when we're feeling down, and we have a way of obsessing them and making us feel worse because we like to live in that sadness. So
No, it'll be okay. I'll be okay. And I love him deeply. He's a great human being. I think just got to figure out how to love each other correctly.
You just need some space, and you need to build out your friendship group. All right.
Will be good. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Take care. Thanks for calling.
Bye. Cheers.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com. See you tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Tuesday Bachelor recaps and Wednesday celebrity and expert interviews. See you next time.